So definitely my professional shift when shifting from the UN to energy work affected a lot of who I am today. It also helped me attract and manifest this partner actually. People find this hard to believe, but I did a lot of inner work. I worked a lot on myself. I worked a lot to understand my love patterns, my love blocks. What is my love karma? Why did I attract certain people in my past that were toxic or not right for me? Until I ended up manifesting my husband. And before meeting my husband, I actually had a dream. And in that vision, I actually saw how my husband looked like. I had the whole image.
Welcome to International Love Story, the podcast about intercultural relationships. And in today's podcast episode, I would like to welcome Rayan. She is a third culture kid. So is her husband. And they have been dating on long distance for 2 years after their first encounter in Qatar. I'm so excited to hear the whole story today. Actually, Rayan is going to tell her story or their story. With this being said, I would like to give a warm welcome to Rayan. Thank you so much for being here today, for spending the next few minutes with me. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you doing? Tell us all about you.
Thank you so much. I don't really know where to start, but I would like to say that your page caught my attention because I really appreciate interracial or intercultural relationships, especially in cultures or societies where it's not really, you know, that common or that accepted, especially if a woman is marrying outside of her country. So my name is Rayan. People call me Ray. I grew up in Zimbabwe, Southern Africa, as well as the Gambia, but mostly Zimbabwe. I am originally from Lebanon and I currently live in Qatar with my husband, Mohammed. And my husband is Tunisian and he grew up in Oman. And then we both live in Qatar. So we both come from like a third culture background, traveling a lot, living in different countries, and then ended up in Qatar as the home base. But before getting to that story about me, my background, I have a background in international law and political science. I used to work with the United Nations, international organizations for around 8 years in different countries. And then 6 years ago, I think, or 5 years ago, I shifted my career. I quit my job from the UN and I started a holistic wellness business. So I'm somebody who loves astrology, who loves the unknown, who loves the world of energy as well, like, mindset, energy, astrology, matrix, tarot. So I've been doing this business for the past 6 years. I have a center based in Beirut. I work online as well. And throughout these years, I've traveled on workshops, took consultant positions at different resorts around different countries. And I'm still continuing this job till today. This is
And your
basically
job
my show.
is, sorry for interrupting, but I find it quite interesting that you went from the one to, I feel like, the completely other side
Yeah.
professionally, and obviously your profession, and you've kind of triggered it or mentioned it already, brought you to where you guys are nowadays in Qatar. Because I'm trying to understand how much your professional shift impacted your life and impacted to where you are nowadays. So if it's okay for you, I would like to go back a little bit in time, right before you met your partner, before you met Mohammed.
So definitely my professional shift when shifting from the UN to energy work affected a lot of who I am today. It also helped me attract and manifest this partner actually. People find this hard to believe, but I did a lot of inner work. I worked a lot on myself. I worked a lot to understand my love patterns, my love blocks. What is my love karma? Why did I attract certain people in my past that were toxic or not right for me? Until I ended up manifesting my husband. And before meeting my husband, I actually had a dream. And in that vision, I actually saw how my husband looked like. I had the whole image, and it was in a foreign country, in a foreign land. My father took my hand, opened the door, gave me to this man. I saw how he looked like, I saw everything. And then months later, I met exactly the person who looked like that in my dream, which I would call like a vision, especially if you're into energy work. So you get a lot of, these intuitive abilities, and some messages come through dreams. So it helped me a lot in that case. It helped me say no to what wasn't aligned for me. Like, throughout the 5 years, you'd meet partners or people and go like, this is another pattern. This is a repeated past cycle. You say no to that. So when you know what you want and you say no to what you don't want, you ended up manifesting and attracting this partner. And I teach my clients this as well. I've had many clients that got married after one session. It's crazy. Or like 2 sessions. And I get invited to their wedding, Kazakhstan, India, Lebanon. I remember the other countries, a couple of Lebanese people. But yeah, because when you work on yourself and you love yourself and know what you want, you end up breaking these patterns. So this is one reason. The second reason, I also had a lot of liberty to travel a lot. So I moved to Egypt, I moved to Liberia, I took consultant positions in the resorts in Maldives and as well in Qatar. That's where I met my husband. When I took a holistic visiting consultant position in maybe the Middle East, biggest and first wellness resort in the end of Qatar, right by the desert, the end point of Qatar. It was for 1 month. And at that point, I'm like, I feel like I'm going to meet somebody at this point, because I had a friend who was a face reader. She reads your face. She would tell me for many years, oh no, your partner is not here yet. She hasn't arrived. And I'm like, what is this girl saying? Like, why is she saying this? And then the year that I was supposed to meet my partner, she was like, your partner is coming this year. This year you're going to meet the love of your life. And you're going to meet this partner through work, and it will be in the Gulf, either in Dubai, either in Qatar. And I was so confused. Like, I don't live in Dubai. I don't live in Qatar. Like, why would I want to go there? And why am I going to meet somebody there? And she did mention that he might not be Lebanese, or that he might be maybe a Lebanese living abroad, or Lebanese who's half something, or like an Arab that's from a different country, something that was foreign about this person. And then a few months later, I get an offer to go to Qatar as a consultant. I'm like, okay, I guess this face reader is, sensing something. So when I end up going to Qatar, I'm like, okay, the person is here. This lady said that it was here. And plus, when I also dealt with an astrologer before, he also mentioned, this year that you would meet somebody in this country that's from a foreign land, and then you would go back to reconnect with this person. So I did all of these tarot, face reading, astrology, that all gave me an idea. Even in my astrology birth chart, it said my Venus was in my ninth house. So when your Venus is in your ninth house, it's all about foreign lands, finding love of a foreigner, finding love in foreign lands. It's very difficult to find love with somebody in local or in your country. So all of this analysis kind of made sense, and they all came into fruition in 2023. So how did I meet him? When I was in Qatar, the whole month I was there, I'm like, okay, I didn't meet anybody. Like, I was meeting people, but they were like, not the one. No, not interested. No, there was. Then I'm like, okay. So the last night that I was supposed to leave Qatar to go back to Lebanon, I had my journal book. And I'm like, dear God, dear universe, I thought that I would actually meet my life partner here. Like, I'm leaving tomorrow. Am I really leaving without meeting my soulmate, without meeting my life partner? Like, I don't understand. Everything that I've analyzed said that, there's something about, the Gulf and something foreign. Something doesn't add up. So I was actually woke up disappointed. Like, I'm leaving, and I didn't meet somebody. I'm like, oh, it's all a lie. It's not going to work. This face reader was lying to me and blah, blah, blah. So then, 10 minutes before leaving to the airport, people were saying bye to me. I had my backpack. I was waiting for the taxi. And then this guy that I've been seeing for 1 month, who never said hi to me, never spoke to me, I just see him walking around, comes, was like, oh, you're leaving. I'm like, oh, I've been here a month. You never even looked at me.
Da.
You never even said hi. You never spoke to me. You never looked at me. I was like, yeah, obviously I'm leaving. He was like, oh, why are you leaving? I'm like, well, my contract is a month, so I have to go. And then when I told him, like, oh, I've been here a month, you never spoke to me, he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then he sat down with me and we started talking. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what your problem is. Like, whenever I would come, I would see you, you won't even say hi. Everybody else was friendly. You were the only one who wasn't friendly. So I thought he was this arrogant guy before actually knowing him. Then he apologized, saying, oh, no, I did not notice. I didn't know. This is who I am, blah, blah, blah. Then we started to talk for like 10 minutes. And then my taxi came and I had to leave. So I'm like, oh, my taxi's here. I have to leave. Let's continue this conversation through on our Instagram, WhatsApp. So then we exchanged Instagram and WhatsApp, and we continued our conversation on Instagram. I was still traveling. I traveled that day. I was going to Turkey, Iran. I was traveling around before heading back to Lebanon. And he kept, we kept talking on a daily basis, even when I was in those travels. So then I got back to Lebanon and we were still talking. So they just happened naturally. It was distant. Then I'm like, okay, I need to probably go back to Qatar to get to know this person more face to face. So I think it was 2 months later, from September to November, is when I went back to Qatar and actually got to sit one on one of this person, get to know this person I've been talking to online for the past 2 months. And that's how it started to happen. So every 2 months, he would either come to Lebanon or I would go to Qatar to break that distance to get to really know the person face to face. And that's how it happened. And then 2 years later, after distance and back and forth, we got married in June, this June recently. And then I permanently moved to Qatar and I'm here now.
So what was it that caught your attention when meeting Mohammed the first time? Because you recognized him before, so you knew he was staying there. Were you kind of checking him out before, hoping that he would talk to you? And also, why didn't he have the courage before to talk to you? Why was it on your last day, 10 minutes before you got into the taxi?
I did notice him from before. I noticed his eyes. He had beautiful eyes. So I was like, this guy is very good looking. I love his eyes. But like, he didn't seem friendly. Like, he wouldn't talk to anybody. He wouldn't talk to me. So I would go ask, the other girls from his country, like, hey, why is this guy not like, oh no, he's like this. He's like, a bit, to himself, a bit arrogant and stuff like that. Because he wouldn't give attention much to people or like to women he doesn't know. So I was like, okay, whatever, let him be like that, whatever. But then I don't know why he spoke to me the last day. He was like, I don't know, something just hit me and said, I need to speak to you. Like, I need to ask, why are you leaving? Because he was like, usually I don't really talk to people at work. Like, I don't talk to people I don't know at work because many visiting consultants come every month. So I don't go and talk to all of them because I know that they're leaving. So I never had that, you know, um, as a feeling that I need to go talk or whatever. But he would notice me around talking to everybody, etc., etc. But it wasn't that I need to go talk to her because she's gonna leave. She's leaving, and she's just like another visiting consultant. Until I don't know, he took that moment, said something, told me I need to just talk. So it was like a natural response. It wasn't like planned.
Mm-hmm. Just so interesting that you were aware that you might meet the love of your life during that time in Qatar and that it happened on your last day, just the last 10 minutes, and that you stayed in contact. Yeah, it's just, you know, I mean, and this is something I haven't shared yet on the podcast or anywhere else. I do believe in destiny as well. I wouldn't say that I'm super spiritual, but I do think that some things just happen because they have to happen. And it's about like tracking opportunities, being brave enough and really like seeing where a specific path is leading you, as long as it feels good to you. And it has to do a lot with knowing yourself, knowing your boundaries. And obviously, as older you get, you learn more about yourself, which is super interesting. And you learn to be more aware of who you surround yourself with, the energy in general you surround yourself with. So that's definitely something I believe has an impact on all of us, whether you're realizing it or not. So in your case, it was very
Prevalent.
precise. It was clear that this is
Very
going to
present.
happen, like up to the detail. I'm just trying to understand like how that felt like for you in the moment he introduced himself and you had this 10-minute chat. I mean, I understand that at that time you were still not 100% sure. Maybe you were. I mean, that's a question you can answer now, where this is going to lead. So I'm really wondering what was going on in your head the moment he presented himself and he started talking to you.
Just went with the flow. But thing is, because I'm spiritual, like I work with energy, I believe in, psychic abilities and astrology and face reading. So what I did is I sent his photo to the face reader. I'm like, so this is what happened. And she confirmed this is it. Because every single thing he said and the details she described about him before, like a year before, was exactly who this person was. Somebody who travels a lot, somebody who's from a different Arab country or somebody who's foreign, somebody who loves archaeology, somebody, who plays. She even said he plays a music instrument and he plays the guitar and he sings. She was very specific of the person's details. So when I sent her the photo and I said 1, 2, 3, she's like, yep. It was the first time she actually says, this is a good person or this is the one. The rest before were like, no, not him. No, no, no. This was the first time she said, this is him. And, go with the flow, give it a try. So I'm like, okay. And then, I would also check my cards. I would also do a lot of energy reading analysis. I would also get like, good signs, good messages. And I was going with the flow. And I just kept my faith in God. Like, whoever is not, because at that point, somebody else was trying to talk to me, but I wasn't sure. So then I'm like, God, just remove who's not for me and who is for me. The person who wasn't was removed instantly like this. And then he just came in. Listen, I'm talking to you because I'm serious. I don't believe in friendship. That was the first thing he told me. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. And I was like, okay, this guy, there's no joke with this dude. So
Yeah,
that's
he's
all.
very straight.
It was very straightforward. There was no like games or playing. It was very, very straightforward. It was like, I don't believe in friendship. I'm talking to you because I have a mission. I'm serious. If you want to waste my time, I'm not the right guy. You want to be friends? I'm not your friend.
Came with his mission 10 minutes before you left. It's just like,
But it
why not
wasn't
earlier
literally.
anyway? But he,
It was online when we decided to talk. But like a few days later.
yeah, this is when you really got to know each other as well. And also the times you were able to see each other in person. And because Mohammed is not part of our conversation today, I'm wondering what, like, just describe him for us. So everyone who's listening and or watching right now, who is Mohammed? Why did you fall in love with him?
I love him because of his straightforwardness. Like he knew what he wanted. Somebody knows what he wants. He's very honest, very straightforward, no games, no back and forth. He has been the most consistent man I've ever met in my 31 years of existence. Very consistent, very healthy, very straightforward, very honest, and very communicative. So there's no toxic energy there at all. It's like you communicate honesty. I like this, I don't like this. And very respectful, very, very respectful, and somebody who's very traditional, has so much respect for women, for family, his mother, his sister. So you can tell how a man is about how he treats his mother, his sister, his family values. So all of these things, somebody who's well educated, well traveled, very aware, very mature, very emotionally intelligent. Somebody who actually knew how to ground me, because whoever knows me, I'm not a grounded person. I'm like wild, I'm like crazy. I go and come, I run, I travel, I do this and that. So it was very hard for a man to ground me or to make me settle or to get me stable. He was the first man that knew how to Ryan, relax, Ryan, you need to calm down. You need to settle. You need to be a bit more stable. You need this and that. I'm like, okay. So he kind of knew how to control or like not control, like to calm down this crazy, unstable life or aspect that I had throughout my whole life. Nobody else knew how
Mm.
to do that because most Arab men would be intimidated by me. Like, oh my God, this girl is so hyper independent. She travels a lot. She does this, she does that. So they wouldn't even approach me because they feel like I intimidate them. I'm too strong. But this man was not intimidated. He was very confident. So I felt intimidated. It was like the opposite.
What is his upbringing? I'm not sure if we've mentioned that in the introduction. I don't think we did. So what's his background?
His upbringing was very traditional, so very Tunisian. And when I did my analysis about Tunisian upbringing, North African upbringing, they have this like the man is a man, this kind of like respect, kind of family values, provider, taking care of a woman, being like the man, a very grounded kind of manly character. So that was definitely part of his upbringing. It was very North African upbringing.
So you aligned on your core values as well, right from the beginning. So there
Yeah,
was
core values.
nothing to adjust to, nothing to discuss about. You were right on the same page from the beginning.
At first, I struggled because I love my freedom a lot. So obviously, in this case, I had to learn how to balance freedom and stability because I didn't know how to be in long. I've never been in a long-term relationship before. It was always short-term. I loved my freedom. I loved doing whatever I want. Nobody telling me what to do or telling anybody. Sometimes I would travel and not tell my parents. So I was this very independent, free woman. So this person coming into my life taught me partnership, how you can still have your freedom, but like co co-interdependent, not dependent or interdependent. I think co-interdependent. Like you can have a mix of both, like your independence as well as a partnership. So I didn't know how to balance that because I realized over time with my energy work that as I was actually not available. I used to attract emotionally unavailable men because I was not available. Because whenever somebody wanted to commit or to be serious, I would panic. Like, I would panic. Like one time I even blocked a guy. He said, I'm coming, I was like, I had to block him. He was too serious. I'm like, what the hell? I panicked and I blocked this person because he wanted to come marry me. I was like, oh. So then I realized over time that I had a commitment issue. I was so afraid to lose freedom, to lose who I am, to lose my travels. Obviously, my travels have become less than before because I had to balance now my marriage life, my husband, and myself. Now, I sometimes even the 2 years being with my husband, my boyfriend, before my partner, before being a husband, I would forget I have a partner. He was reminded, he was, okay, yeah, I need to remind you, you have a partner. Why are you walking by yourself alone? Like, why are you taking decisions alone? Like, you have a partner, you're not in this by yourself. So sometimes I would even forget because I'm so used to being hyper independent. I would forget that, oh, okay, I have a partner I can support, that I can ask, I can help. Or I need to, take his opinion, his perspective on things.
And consult him in the one or the other thing. I mean, as I understand, before you were just like decision, 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 decision. And now it's like, okay, I have a partner and there's the one or the other decision that
Yeah.
he has to know about or we have to agree on or
Agree on,
discuss.
exactly. And I have to find this balance. I cannot just get up, take my bag, and travel every 1 month that I feel like it. It's like now there's somebody else involved.
I used to do that as well. Like, it's interesting because there are a lot of, let's call them patterns, but I don't mean it in a negative way, not at all.
Yeah.
I have as well, or I still have them, like where I just love my independency and my time for myself. Just spending some time on my own. I'm good being alone for a couple of days, 2 weeks, and then I get bored. But I always felt like the men I've been dating before, they kind of had an issue with that. Because when making a decision like, hey, I just need my space, like explaining myself, it doesn't have anything to do with you. I just need my space right now. I have to be on my own. Um, Partners, it might sound like, okay, she's distancing herself from me,
That's true.
while that's not the case at all. Like nowadays with Nacho, so with my husband, I can tell him like, listen, I just need 3 days this weekend. I go to Bariloche which is in the south of Argentina, and I spent some time on my own, doing my own thing. And he's like, okay. And every time he's talking about that with friends, they're actually amazed that we handle things the way we do. I mean, obviously, this is just the way we do it since 8 years already, and it has been working quite
Exactly.
great for us. Like being in a committed relationship, being partners, being a team doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do everything together and that you have to
So
stick
true.
together 24/7. It also means like having your own space, creating your own room, and then coming back together and have a conversation about your adventures. It's also like, yeah, food for new conversations or bringing the relationship to another level. So keeps things interesting sometimes as well. Let's phrase it like this. I hope you know what I mean by
Yep,
that.
I agree that
Again, like there's no right, there's no wrong. That's just my personal experience because I am myself also someone who is pretty good in just making decisions like this and just booking a plane ticket and be like, hey, I just need to escape for a few days, but I'll be back and we'll be fine. It doesn't have anything to do with you. And not just the first person who understands this. And it's just so nice because there are no questions asked. And he's just like, okay, you go, girl. See you soon. Bye. Definitely, definitely. I mean, over time as well, it just developed. Because
yeah.
obviously, in the beginning, you want to do everything together and you want to spend as much time together as possible. It's the honeymoon phase. But eventually, after some time, you learn that it's good to have your own support network as well, to have your own friendships and to spend some time outside of your relationship and to really balance it out, like private life, relationship, marriage, coming together in the end of the day and having interesting conversations. I hope that makes sense, but I'm pretty
Of
sure
course,
you
yeah,
get
it
the
makes
point.
sense. I totally agree with that. So I understand.
So that's a little bit of how we handle things. So I think there are a few similarities, even though I think you're a little bit more spontaneous than I am. Spontaneously than I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just get back a little bit to you being on long distance relationship, you learning more about Mohammed, taking the next steps, eventually getting married. There's just so much in between. So what happened exactly from the first time seeing each other to the moment where you said yes to one another?
Well, we did have a lot of uncertainties, like how we're going to break this distance, what's going to happen, what we're going to do, where we're going to live. Obviously, he was living in Qatar, which seemed like a better option. I even had tried applying for jobs in Qatar, but it would never work out because in interviews, they're like, you're a free bird. Why are you applying to 9 to 5 jobs in Qatar? I'm like, I don't know. I just need some stability. And they're like, honey, just go. They wouldn't take me. So I would get rejected from so many jobs in Qatar from the HR. Like, what are you doing? Why are you applying for 9 to 5? This is not you. So it wouldn't work. So the energy was not allowing me to move to Qatar before and with a 9 to 5 job. So we just kept our individual lives. And every few months, we would meet up either in Lebanon or Qatar. He came to Lebanon to meet my family. After 1 year, he came, he met my family in Lebanon. So we kept that nice balance, like distance, both during our lives and ourselves. And then every few months we'd meet, connect, meet the family, and then go back to, a different individual space and then back. So I think it was a very nice actually mix because you get to know a person from far and from close. And we focused a lot on phone calls. He's not really a WhatsApp texting guy. He's more like a phone call, video call guy. So it gives you more of like this realistic, real life aspect to the connection as well. So yeah. But then at the beginning we set deadlines. Like, hey, if everything works out from now to 1 year, we make something official with the family. And then after that, we take 1 year. And once he feels like, no, we're both ready, 1 year, we take the step for marriage because we didn't want to continue doing distance. So we set deadline. We worked and we agreed. Like, when do you want this? When do you want that? Okay, let's try after 1 year, until we were like, both ready. So that's when I actually met his family when they came to Lebanon for the wedding. That was the first time.
How excited were you? Were you able to talk to them before, maybe via FaceTime, or
Yes,
how
of
was
course.
it?
Phone calls, FaceTime, video calls. So it's like I saw them a lot via video calls. We spoke a lot. I was obviously nervous for the first time being face to face, but it was natural. They're very nice people, very friendly. So I think just after maybe a few minutes, that's when I became comfortable and just became myself. So you know
And the
what?
wedding
Hmm.
itself?
The wedding was a mix of Lebanese Tunisian vibes. So we did a beautiful mix of Tunisian Lebanese energies, theme. So people actually loved the wedding because we mixed it with both cultures.
And you were able to bring both families together. So his family met your family?
Mostly my family. So his family was only the immediate family. So it was mostly like my family.
So that was recently. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank
So
you.
this year you guys got married. I'm wondering because we've been kind of tackling this topic, you being a third culture kid, but him being a third culture kid too. Do you feel like this is impacting your relationship? And if so, in what ways does it impact your relationship?
I don't think it impacts, but it just makes you have different opinions, different perspectives, or different long-term visions. Because I come from a Lebanese background of family in Africa. So we're very business minds. So since my grandfather immigrated to Africa, my father, my uncles, the whole family are business minds in Africa. So I do have an African upbringing. I do have a business mind. I'm not an employee type of woman. And I don't want my kids to even have this mentality. I'm very business minded, long-term stability, investment, etc., etc. So when you grew up as a Lebanese in Africa, you have this perspective than somebody who grew up in a more uh, kind of like, father being a professor at the school, mother having her own profession, etc., etc., sister being a lawyer, like more like professional jobs. So it becomes like two different perspectives on professional career long term wise is where we try to like, this is what I prefer, what I prefer. I like in my family we take risks. His case, he doesn't like it. Like it's more like comfort zone. Like I'm happy with my 9 to 5 job. I'm comfortable. I get whatever salary I get a month. Like I'm happy. Like for us as Lebanese, like no, we need to do business. We need to invest. We need to have long term. We need to do that, that, that. So it's this kind of thing. This third culture upbringing can be a bit different when it comes to this kind of perspectives.
And how do you solve that? Like, how do you make sure that you're still on the same page?
I don't know, through talking it out, convincing, trying to show this perspective, why this perspective is this, or why this could be a better option, or why that, or I have to think like this. So it all goes back through communication, and also family plays a role as well when they talk, explain, and when you also talk and you explain, etc., etc. So it's all through communication and showing like examples as well.
And also agreeing on disagreeing sometimes? Or is
Exactly.
that
Agree to
taboo
disagree.
and agree
Of
to
course, there's a
disagree? Yeah.
lot of agree to disagree.
Yeah, I just love that phrase, honestly, because especially if you have like cultural, like being from cultural different backgrounds, it also comes with different upbringings. I mean, obviously, we all grew up in a different way, but the culture you grew up in, and in your case, it's several cultures, just has such a big impact on your personality as well on the long run. And sometimes it's just quite difficult to break through specific patterns. I think the German culture is a good example. We like to be structured, we like to be in point, while else here in Argentina, things are a little bit different. So I have to get used to it
Like,
because there's nothing I can change. But we often have conversations where it's about like a structure, where it's about like me wanting to know what's happening next week. And those are specifically those pain points where we oftentimes agree on disagreeing because he just sees things totally different. And then over time, you kind of adjust. And I wouldn't say you find the middle ground because, like, in my opinion, a middle ground doesn't really exist. So it's always like a little bit more of this, and then other topics is a little bit more of that. A typical middle ground, like you're always moving a little bit around, like it's difficult, but also super interesting. Never gets boring.
And when you said the German part was interesting because you guys are very structured, very punctual. If you look at Lebanese and Latinos, we are chaotic. We are not punctual. We're not structured. We are just disorganized. And we just live in the moment because of our culture, our history. You know, it's very, very, very different. I remember one time when I was in Germany, actually, we went for a training with the UN. We had a group of Lebanese and we had one of the facilitators was a Swiss German. He was so mad at us. He was like, "You people are never on time. You are not organized. You're not this. You don't respect the German Swiss culture." We're like, "This is our culture. You're not respecting us too. Okay, we can't be on time. When you say 8, we come at 9. This is how we are." And we're very loud people. So sometimes people in Germany get so annoyed with their earphones, like, "Oh, you people are so loud in the metro. Can't you just be quiet?" Like, we can't. We need to talk. We need to, So it's very different.
It's just that there are some things you just have to accept. They're just the way they are. And after all, like the example you've just named, the result is what counts. No matter how you got there, but at least you got your way somehow, you know? So in the end, I'd like to think as well that sometimes we shouldn't take ourselves too serious. And as you've mentioned, live in the moment instead, which can be difficult if you're trying to be 10 steps ahead of yourself. And also, history has shown in our relationship, not just in mine, things will never turn out the way you want them to turn out. So all the planning and all the little love to detail, after all, will just be thrown out of the window. That's definitely one of the biggest learnings in our relationship for me. Is just that you can plan, and yes, it's good to have a plan, but after all, doesn't matter.
If my body
Just go with
works.
the flow. I should count like how often I or my podcast guests say go with the flow, because that's also a topic we talk quite often during the podcast recordings. So I'm wondering, like, talking about this right now, what's next for you? What are your next steps? You're living in Qatar at the moment, but how will your future look like? What is in your plans?
Well, from the beginning, as I mentioned, like especially when you read energy, so I'm always analyzing my life. I know that Qatar is just a transit. So Qatar is just a transit. It's not like the final destination, definitely. It's not like the home or long-term destination. It's a transit. It's a cocoon phase, being allowing us to prepare ourselves for somewhere else where we can expand. So definitely, definitely, I see us leaving Qatar by the beginning of next year and going back to the Lebanese upbringing in Africa. So I'm taking him to my apartment.
And what is the idea exactly stepping into your world? Do you have a plan? Is it something you will figure out once it's time? What's your idea
Well,
on
the
this?
plan is there. My family has a business in Ghana. Actually, we're starting a business in Ghana. We have started. So we agreed, me and my husband, to go take over it.
Wow, that's a big
Yeah,
step.
to be able to expand. This is the Lebanese way of thinking. Like, if you want to stay in Qatar, you're going to take time to go up the ladder. But when you go and you try to manage a business, there is more potential to expand and more space for creativity, for innovation, for the energy, for something, you're expanding with.
So your time in Qatar, you see it as a learning as well, in order to share your learnings and to implement your learnings in the business, in the family business. That's very interesting because as far as I understand, it is a big step. It might be very different to what you're doing now. And it's just another example of how things just turn out, like one step after the other, and that this is the bigger vision you have in mind, especially you being a little bit more chaotic not always having a plan, but having the goal in mind, and him maybe being a little bit more structured. So just to see how that will work out on the long run as well when it comes to building a business or expanding a business together. Because there's a difference between being partners in a love relationship versus being business partners. And that will just, I guess, add
That's
a
where the
different layer
balance
to your
has to come
relationship.
in. That's where we'll have to find like a balance, like how to separate business from partnership. Now, obviously, I may not be involved in some aspect of the business to give him also his space, not to see me 24/7.
Can be challenging in a positive way, but also I think you do have to be quite careful with this as well. So I'm curious to see where or when you're actually going to move.
We just have to wait to see what unfolds, basically. Obviously, there's a lot of challenges and also a learning aspect to it. But yeah, hopefully we do plan to move by January, February, maybe around maybe the first
That's soon.
months of next year. That's the plan, but you never know what happens.
We never know what happens. Also true, yeah. Go with the flow. So thank you so much for sharing your love story. To wrap things up, what's one advice you would like to share with everyone who is listening and or watching right now?
One advice. So based from my work and clients that I work with, I think the advice I can give is to love yourself, to be true to who you are, to really know what you want in a partner, and to say no what isn't that. Like, if there's mixed signals or confusion, cut it off. Like, don't waste your time in gray areas or situationships. Go for somebody or attract somebody who knows what they want. You guys are aligned on the same values, long term values. Communication and respect is so important in a relationship. Love is not enough. You can love somebody, but it can be toxic. You can love somebody and still get divorced. You can love somebody and I don't know, still cause pain. So love is not enough. Respect, communication, core values are way more important because when you date somebody, the first few months are different than 6 months, than 1 year, than fiance, then husband, then father, then kids. You keep changing and they keep changing to different versions with these different phases of the relationship. So love changes through different aspects, but respect, communication, and values are what stays. And once you lose respect, then love is gone. So the pain comes. And that's
Mm.
something I've learned. This is something my husband has even told me as well.
Thank you so much for sharing this. I couldn't agree more. Especially after, I mean, not just my first long-term relationship, now marriage as well, knowing each other since more than 10 years. And
Yeah.
you'd like to think back to the moment you met and obviously the honeymoon phase, how excited you are. But honestly, I wouldn't like to go back into like, I appreciate that we had that part of our relationship. Obviously, it brought us to where we are nowadays. But nowadays, we are much more confident in our relationship. We really know each other. We really value each other. Like all those core values you've just mentioned, we've talked about it. We are so aligned on all levels due to communication. And he is the person I rely on no matter what, 1000%. And I wouldn't have known this 10 years ago, you know, in the honeymoon phase when you're wearing those rose colored glasses. It's a beautiful phase, but also everything that comes afterwards is so exciting. And it's not an adventure, it's just different. And people like to think like, hey, you've changed. Yes, obviously you've changed. You're getting older, like you're getting wiser. Maybe not, but you're making your own experiences as well, you know, and those experiences, they're changing you. And I find it difficult when partners in a relationship start comparing the old version with the new version that's sitting in front of them.
You're evolving. It's never the same. Like
Exactly.
even when you have kids,
Exactly.
become a mother, you're evolving. You're not the same as before. That's what people need to understand. You will never be the same person throughout the whole relationship or marriage. You're gonna keep evolving.
Exactly, exactly. And that's the thing, what you've just mentioned throughout communication, making sure that you're still aligned and still walking the same path or having the same vision. You ensure that you are both working on the next step, on the bigger picture, whatever it is you are envisioning. It's just a lot of work, a lot of patience, and a lot of love and a lot of communication. So thank you so much for sharing this. For everyone who would like to get in contact with you, what's the best way to reach out with you?
Through Instagram, I have 2 pages, my personal one and my business one. So they can reach out, have a conversation, chat. I'll be happy to chat with anybody who would love to reach out to me. I can send you my Instagram pages.
Is there anything else you would like to share with us today?
So far, no. I think I said what I had to say in a nutshell. There's love for everybody. You just have to believe it. And even if you have to cross borders, because so many people have that fear that I can't be with somebody outside of my culture or my religion. But sometimes your soulmate might be across the border or across a different religion. So just keep an open mind.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate that you took the time to share your story, to have this very interesting conversation, because what I do in the beginning of almost always in the beginning before recording actually, is I have a little guideline where I send in a few questions so that my guests also can prepare. But I also like to go off topic, and I feel like this is also what we did today. I really enjoyed especially the spiritual part, to learn more about your work as well, and to see that your work led you to where you're nowadays also in your love life. And that's just, to me, it's very interesting to see how it was a big switch going from working for the UN to working as a holistic spiritual coach. Is this how you
I
would
don't say
phrase it?
coach. I would rather say like a therapist. I don't know. I don't like to use
Therapist?
the word coach. I don't know.
But
I
it's
don't know.
yeah, I understand.
Practitioner, therapist. I don't know. Usually these days, coaches are not, I don't know, being liked on social media. We're getting like a lot of criticism.
I know. I mean, yes, I understand. I also
I avoid
try
that.
not to use that word, because in Germany especially it's a little bit negative,
Yeah.
due to not being protected. So everyone can call themselves
Mm-hmm.
coach without having the training actually to be one. So I myself, I'm careful with that as well. But I think it's just how people perceive it in general in the society nowadays. I understand. But yeah, to get back to the topic, working for the UN and then just changing your career 180 degrees and being married, living in Qatar, meeting the love of your life, taking over your family business next year, most likely. It's just like, I just find it interesting how things turn out and how little you can really plan life, and how much you also should just take an opportunity when it's just right in front of you, not being scared of doing your own thing and trying things out and really leaving your comfort zone. And you're just the best example on how this will work out if you just go for it. So I'm really happy that we went off script a little bit today and that you shared so much of your personal experience as well. As mentioned, I will link all your socials below. And thank you again so much for spending some time with me today.
Thank you as well. Bye.